when we break down the cybersecurity world, we basically break it down to the user area, the company area, and the data area. And the training should be touching each one of those areas of the company. So I'm going to break it down real quick for you more specifically in writing. This is our framework, the user, the company, and the data. Let's talk about the user, for example. The user, one of the things you can do on the user level of protecting your company is broken down to also what you do before hiring the person, during the onboarding, while the person is employed, and at termination. And you can see over here that during employment, we have a simulation of emergencies and breaches, and we have policy reviews and training. We have cyber training and assessments. Those happen or should happen while the person is employed. But during the onboarding, you want to also make sure that you have some policies that they are participating in or sign that they understand, because it is so important to explain during the onboarding how important cybersecurity is for your company. Invest in them getting the buy-in from day one. And you can see in red over there, technology training and security assessment during the onboarding will be a wonderful, wonderful tool for you to understand if that person even understands anything about cybersecurity. We see a lot of times where the company assumes that because it's a young person that was just hired, they're all tech savvy and all that, and they don't really worry about the onboarding training or assessment. Do an assessment. Your IT company should be able to offer an assessment, a test for you to rank that person to see how much help they're going to need before you expose them to the data. You give them access and passwords and ability to cause damage. And before the hiring side of it, this is another time you can do in the very beginning, even before you hire, some kind of a technical testing to see if they're even technology savvy enough. Don't assume anything. So that's on the user level. On the company side, we have a few things that you want to look at when you think about your cybersecurity for your business, because that's all about protecting your company from cyber attacks and downtime and financial losses, etc. The company in general need to look at those areas, and cyber liability insurance policy is one of the most important things that I think every business should have these days. I don't care if you're a one-person company or you have 300 employees. Having good cyber liability policy is very important, because everybody will tell you it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and when you're going to get breached and when data is going to be lost, stolen, or exposed in the dark web and the source was you. The financial damages, the reputation, the investigation, everything is very, very expensive. Now, insurance carriers are going to ask you these last few years, do you employ cybersecurity training into your weekly activities or company culture? Do you have cybersecurity training? If you say yes, just because you send a link to a video every 6 months or whatever, they're going to need to see proof if there's a breach. They're going to want to see that you actually did it, and you did it with enough good intentions that actually people follow it. So all those tips that I gave you before of how to get the buy-in and how to get it exciting for the employees, it's all going to build up towards the fact that you're going to need to track somehow the training. For example, one of the things that we and many other IT companies like us do is not just send videos, but also have like a 4-question quiz that your employees will have to answer to show that they participated. And you can see also through that, not just, you're not going to use it just as a proof that your employees are practicing cybersecurity training, but also you can see through the results who is the weakest link, who needs more help. I'll give you a quick hint over here. It's almost always the older business owners that think that they're immune to everything and their assistant or secretaries will just take care of things if they happen. They don't understand, unfortunately, how important that is for them to not be the weakest link, because usually they are. So focus on your older employees. They usually understand the least the importance of cybersecurity training. So that was the user, now the company. And next, we're going to talk about the data. So cybersecurity in the data is listed over here, some of the things that we look at, but not explaining to your team and not educating your team how you guys do that and why it's important to have two-factor authentication and to go through hardware inventory, to deal with removing documents from your local hard drive when you don't need them anymore, or not just drop off stuff on some client Dropbox account or your personal Dropbox account because it's easier to share information that way. Those are the basic things that educating your users why and how those things can cause damage if you don't follow them is a huge contributor to cybersecurity in general, and you do it through the employee education. One of the things that we hear a lot is, yeah, we're a small company, we don't need to worry about inventory. Inventory is not just the computers that you use. Inventory is also a thumb drive that you use to copy data from one computer to another in the office. Inventory is also for the external drives that you have some backups on. Inventory is also any cloud environment that you or any of the employees can have access to because you did not block it. Inventory is even your printers, because when you send a print job, it is saved almost always in an internal hard drive of that printer. Those are basically examples of inventory items that contain or can contain data that, if it's breached or stolen or lost, can cause damage. Educating your employees about those things, why you're not allowing personal Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever it is, and only use SharePoint or only use Box.com or whatever it is you guys use, and block out everything else. So if we want to take stuff on our own, and if you guys want to DIY a lot of it, I'm going to suggest that you look at those suggestions over here. Few of the things to focus on is that you want to set up two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication on everything that you can. Any service that you work with and any vendor you work with should offer you 2FA these days, and if they don't, look for somebody else. I would highly recommend that. Employee education is listed there as well, of course. And there's DNS filtering and other areas where you can actually have a second line of defense. So if the employee, for example, did click on a bad link because they did not read the email correctly, that can lead them to visit a fake website. Fake websites or hackers creating websites, those websites are usually short-lived. They don't stay on the internet for a long time because internet providers will block them pretty fast. But having a DNS filtering service will usually help a lot by preventing users from going to suspicious websites. If it's Microsoft spelled wrong, for example, or if it's Netflix spelled wrong, or if it's anything that they can fall for, the DNS filtering service should prevent them from going to those websites, because that's the job of those filtering services. Again, employees are going to be maybe annoyed that they're trying to go to Facebook.com and you guys block it on a company level, because you know that social engineering and social media and those type of websites are not going to help anybody with security, also efficiency and productivity, of course, but you can block type of websites like these using a DNS filter service and others. That data segregation is another thing to help with employees accessing the wrong information. Segregate old client files, for example, old contracts, old cases from live ones, and only give access to the only very few people that need access to the old archive stuff and nobody else. Why would Joe, the new employee that was just hired yesterday, need to have access to all of your 300 client files from 10 years ago? Because if Joe is exposed and his computer is being hacked, and Joe does not understand how to prevent those issues and prevent that breach. Now through Joe's computer, because Joe has access to all the archive, now the exposure is much bigger. So again, educate our employees why you're segregating the data, why you're separating everything and securing it. Get them to understand and have the buy-in why those things happen.